Alright, so what's going on, guys? So, sorry, I was just kind of setting up this stream, getting ready. Alright, so what we have in today is the LG Aristo 2, and I think the last time what I did was, when I did a charging port, it was done only with the soldering iron. So we're going to do the second part of the many ways to change a charging port. This time I'm going to use the hot air to remove this charging port. Prepaid, can I? So let's go ahead and work. This time we're going to use hot air to remove this charging port. We're not going to use the iron. I want to say we're not going to use it at all. So let's cover up some of these important components. Got some Captain tape, right? And the first thing I want to cover up is this microphone. I don't want any kind of flux or anything getting underneath that, right? And you should do this if you don't have, you know, a soldering iron and you're trying to get this job done for whatever reason without a soldering iron. This is my suggestion. So let me see. Hopefully you guys can see this. Right, this is how I would take my charging port off before repair. I would first, let me back up a little bit. I would first tape off the important components, like my microphone here, right? I'm just kind of sealing it off, right? That's important. These, I mean, they're important, but you can replace these components, you know, fairly easy if they do, you know, if they do come off. 1 second though. All right, so let's go ahead and turn our hot air station on. And like I said before, I am not going to use my soldering iron. I'm only going to use the hot air to remove and install this, hopefully safely. Okay. I don't like to use this board holder. Show it to you guys because, you know, you see how it says high heat? I put this on here so that when I go to do a repair, I know that this board right here is going to take a lot more heat than a regular board holder would, right? So I don't like to use this because it forces me to apply more heat to the board than I would like to apply to it. Or, you know, then, so how do I get around this? I could lay the board down on here, but this blue mat kind of expand whenever you add too much heat to it. So I think what I'm going to do is this. I'm still going to use the board holder. The only thing that I'm going to do differently is I'm going to hang the charging port off the side, okay? And okay. We got some strong. All right, sorry about that. I'm always going back and forth. I know what else I haven't done. I haven't shared this video yet, so let's go ahead and share it too. Let's share this on social media. Let's see if I can pull it up and just share it from here. Not sure if we're going to get anybody else to join, but nevertheless, let's share. All right, let's go over here and let's just heard the door open. Let's see. Nope, I guess we're clear. Won't let me. Okay, I'll just post that and I'll just leave that alone because it's really fighting me right now and I don't want to fight with this thing. Just to post on Facebook, not that big of a deal to me. So anyway, so we got that up right now. Let's possibly share it to another page. And then we'll get going. All right, so if you guys are just now tuning in or getting online or just watching this, what we're doing is an LG Aristo or LG K8, LG Aristo 2 Plus or whatever. Several different names it's called by. Regardless, let's get this old port off and let's get our new port on. I am going to put up this tool and I'm going to get... Actually, I just found one of my favorite tools the other day. It's still where I lost it. And I found it. So this is my suggestion to you guys. If you haven't done this before, go ahead, put some fresh solder on these joints before you remove this port. Don't do what I'm doing, because the reason why I'm doing this is just for demonstration purposes. This is not saying that this is how I do these repairs. I surely, when I'm doing these repairs, I'm very cautious. But I'm just showing you, if you got limited tools and you need to get this job done, Here's another way you can do it. Okay, all right, so let's go. So hot air, and I'm warming up the board. And I got this huge tweezer so that way I can kind of pull it once I get it up to temp. Now I'm watching to see the solder melt, and as soon as it melts, pop the port out. There we go. Right? That port is out. That's the old port. So now to get the new port in, let's find it. So here's the new one. All right, and to get the new one in, this is how I'm going to get it in. I'm going to try to hurry up before the board, you know, temperature goes all the way down, and I have to heat the whole board up again. I don't want to have to do that. And maybe I'll have to, because that's just how things work out for me. So let's go ahead and get this port. This is the new port. And just like the previous port, I'm gonna watch it. Well, and I'm going to keep the port close by because I don't want to wait too long before I get this port in, and I don't want to heat the port up too much. So I'm just watching it. And I see it and pop it in there, and that's it. Pull my heat away, and then I'm going to come back again with some heat. And there we go. And you can see, look at that cap. See that? So you can see that that cap still moved even though I have it taped. And that's what I meant by, if you guys are doing these repairs, you have to be very careful, because things like this will happen where you have small components that's going to move. Even though you've done all that you can to kind of keep them in place, they're still going to move. They're still going to shift. They still want to do whatever they want to do. So I'm trying to be very cautious here and not lose that component. And I will show you guys what to do if, you know, something like this happens to you and a component shift. First thing is first. Be very careful not to lose the component. Because if you lose it, it can be a pain, especially if it's like a capacitor is not so much, but like let's say it's not a capacitor. Let's say it's, you know, even a smaller capacitor compared to this one. So this is a big capacitor. Let's say it's one of the really, really small ones. You will have a lot of headache trying to get, and I'm gonna have to solder that back in. So either way, you will have a lot of headache with those components trying to get them back in place. So if that does happen to you, try to keep that component around, because if you lose it, it can be a really big headache either finding a replacement for it or just getting what you have to work, right? So give me 1 second, guys. Yeah, I'm not even done yet. Just about to finish up. So like I said, if you knock off components, you just try your best to keep the component around and not to lose it.
Live?
Yeah. Let's.
Yeah, watching the master at work.
No master.
So is it a 6? Is it? That's.
What? Aristo?
Oh, that's Aristo. It shows it's pulling something.
What?
It does that. It shows it's pulling something.
But it's not really pulling anything. It's actually shorted. That's what it's doing. So that's why it seems like it's pulling something, but realistically it's just shorted out. So over and over again, because it's shorted, it just keeps going, 7 milliamps and back and forth. It's shorted. Trust me, I put it underneath the thermal camera and you can see.
Are you soldering the LEDs yourself too?
Yeah. All of it.
Why didn't you do that other one?
I could have. Just didn't know what the person was doing with it. That's what I told you. I said, what are they doing with it? I can't just solder it.
That's all they said they wanted done.
I understand, but that's what the person tell you until it's done, and then they're like, oh no, that's not. Trust me, bro. When you work for people, and I work for people all the time, I know the questions to ask, and if they don't answer them, it's better if I leave it alone, because I'll end up doing the job 3 times just to get paid once. Okay, and there we go. We got that cap back in place, and we have a little solder ball here. Let's get this out of here, and then we'll test the port to make sure that it is working. So that looks good, and we had to touch up one pin that wasn't making a connection, so let's go ahead and touch that pin up just like that. And I wanted to do this with no soldering iron, just straight hot air, and almost got it done, but you guys get the gist. If that's all you have, you can get this job done. I mean, it is going to be a little rough, as you can see, but for the most part, it'll work. Test these pins. Make sure none of them is shifting or moving, and they all seem good. Wait, am I missing something here? Wow, so let's see, what are those pins for? Okay, those are ground. It's not that big of a deal. I don't even have to connect those. Those are just ground pins. Yeah, both of those are just ground pins, but we already got enough ground, so I'm not going to worry about them. I'm not going to worry about them. We'll hand it back to these guys over here, and they'll sell it to the customer.
For what? What's wrong with it?
There's nothing wrong with it. He thinks that there's something wrong with it, but
You said it was handed back to us, sold it to the customer.
Yeah, this is a joke, my friend.
Oh, I thought that was.
No, because it's just 2 ground pins that, I mean, they sell these charging port as the LG Aristo 2 charging port, blah, blah, blah. But there's like a slight difference. Like this one has 2 ground pins, this one just don't have the 2 ground pins. But it'll still work because you already have enough ground. It's like, you know, when you buy a tool, or not a tool, but you buy something to give you extra screws.
You just tie them together and wire them together and just
Done. That's it. All right, let's check this to make sure that it is pulling.
What is this?
Hmm?
So you have buttons on this? I thought it was just a drawer.
Yeah, it has a lock. That's like a lock combination.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Must have been a medical.
It was. All right, and there we go. We're pulling 12, 13, 24, 26. So we're pulling. So this thing is charging right now. So we're good. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.